The circle is divided into 12 segments. The 12 signs of the zodiac, these constellations. As the planets and the sun and so forth move through them, then astrology is used by configuring angles, sidereal time, and all this kind of stuff, and they make predictions. But the point is, wherever the sun, whatever sign the sun is in, they say that's your sign. Whether it be Sagittarius the archer, Aquarius the water bearer, Pisces the fish, or Pistachio the nut. You know, you were born under a certain sign, according to astrology. We don't believe that. The witches do. And a lot of other people, fellow travelers with the occult, believe it. To mark that spot of your birth, the flame on a candle in ritual was always a representation of the sun god on earth. This goes all the way back to Babylon. Therefore, you make a cake, you put the candle on the cake, and call it a birthday cake because the fire on the cake is the representation of the sun god, the presence of Baal, marking the sign that you were born under, because that's where the sun is at that particular time. Now, because the earth travels in a circuit, because it is a circular year, the old saying comes along, many happy returns, because you return to the same spot where you left off 1 year later. You mark it again with a candle. Many happy returns. So the fire on the cake is pagan. So we don't believe in that. So are the pointed hats and a lot of the other paraphernalia that people get involved in. But if you want to give your children some presents and make them just a regular cake in a flat pan or whatever, nothing wrong with that. There's no problem, okay?
All right. Hopefully that answered your question there. We'll go ahead and move on unless you have any more questions on that, Fonda Bill. The next question will be coming from... Fonda Bill says thank you. So I guess we'll move on here. The next question comes from KJV Word Nerd. She writes, can you explain who or what is this speaking of pasture? And this is a question from Geraldine, and she takes the scriptures from 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 7, which states, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work, only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way.
Okay. Basically, first of all, iniquity only works well when it is a mystery. The power of evil, the power of the occult, is darkness, depending on the ignorance of the people. And that's why secret societies are secret societies. They have something to hide, and they operate in the darkness. Jesus said men love darkness rather than light because their deeds are evil. So the mystery of iniquity doth already work, and ultimately it is to bring forth a satanic, one-world dictatorship, which we are very close to having right now, ever since the 19th of November. If you want me to explain that, I will. But when the Scripture says, and this is the Apostle Paul writing this long ago, only he who now letteth will let, meaning allow, until he be taken out of the way, and then shall that wicked be revealed. Now, some people think that means the church being raptured out, but the church is never referred to as a he. It's always the bride of Christ. It's always listed in the female gender. So, what is the he that's taken out of the way? Historically, if you go back and look at the situation in the early days of the church, what was the restraining power? You'd have to say, what kept the falling away from happening? What kept a massive, large church from rising up, such as Catholicism? It was the Roman Empire. And Rome fell. I'm trying to remember this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, some of you scholars out there. I believe it was in 476. A.D. Okay? And when Rome fell, the Roman Catholic Church came into being, although it started, the mystery of iniquity was already working, because in 325 A.D., Constantine had put together his religious system, which became the Roman Catholic Church. And this was the false church, the decoy, the imposter church that rose up, and none can deny it. It became the universal, which is what Catholic means, the universal church. Rome, as an empire, the Caesars, prevented that from happening. Once Rome fell, then that one, the little horn, with a mouth speaking great things, rose up. So I believe that specifically it's speaking of when that restraint was taken away, then the mystery of iniquity would be revealed. And it's still going on to this day. In fact, if you look at when the Roman Empire fell, and I've just been working on this because I'm working on the January newsletter right now. Well, not this moment, but I was working on it today. And if you take that date of when the Roman Empire fell, and then another major event when King Henry VIII broke away from the Catholic Church and started the Episcopal Church, or the Church of the Anglican Church of England, if you take those 2 years and add them together, you come to the year 2010, which is the first full year of the European Union having its formal permanent president, a man by the name of, let's see, what is his name? Herman van Rompuy. So these numbers are amazing how it all works out. But we are right there on the edge of a one-world government because it's the revived Roman Empire. You see, when I hope I'm not wandering too much here, but I want to tell you this if I can. But anyway, when Rome fell and Catholicism rose up, they tried to put together the Holy Roman Empire. It failed. Under Charlemagne, it failed. Nobody could put Rome back together again. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Those nursery rhymes are spiritual, you know, and very historical. All right? So, when Henry VIII, who was a scoundrel, broke away from the Church of England, or from Rome rather, to form the Church of England, when he did that, he struck quite a blow to Rome and further fractured that empire and any chances of it ever coming together again. And strangely enough, in these last days, we see it all coming together. The impossible is happening. The deadly wound is being healed. And we have a United States of Europe today, as I speak, a revived Roman Empire built around the Mediterranean Sea, the nations of Europe. And officially, there have always been 10 primary nations. Now they were fragmented, borders have changed, but traditionally, there were 10 nations of Europe. And this beast has 7 heads, which is Rome, and 10 horns, which are corresponding countries. Religious and political unity in a one-world government. We see it forming even now. Okay?
All right. Keep on still wants to know, so who is he now who letteth? Or so who is he who now letteth?
Well, the scripture actually there is fulfilled already. Okay?
And
in other words, if you're wondering about what that verse means, the Roman Empire fell, and when it did, that allowed the Antichrist Roman Catholic system to come into being. And that fulfilled that scripture.
Okay. Well, hopefully that answered your question there. We're going to move on.